That's the name of our show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to The Large Glass. My name is Todd.
I'm Terri.
And this is our 100th show.
Yes.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for listening to us for well over 100 hours.
What is wrong with you? Hi.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, too.
Do we have any idea what we're doing tonight?
Not quite.
Not exactly.
I think we have a couple things in mind, but it's kind of, we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants.
So I see some people. Oh, Christina McKinnon is here. She's saying happy 100th. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Joseph Barbacci is here. Happy Centennial. John Park. Jess Park.
Thank you.
Mom. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's see. We should start off with we had a busy weekend.
We had a really busy weekend.
Which, I don't know, I'm going to apologize. First of all, I'm assuming we have sound because no one's saying no sound. Mm-hmm. So this is good. There's One Good King is here.
One Good King, hey.
Wow. And I think that's Shirley over on Facebook, Shirley, where it says Facebook user. I'm pretty sure that's Shirley. So hi to Shirley.
Hello.
Hi to One Good King. It's been a while. I know you were away on the summer. I saw some of your amazing photos. So that's awesome.
Yep.
And thank you for the sound check on that one.
Yes. Everybody's confirmed.
I made sure to check it like 3 times because I was freaked out over last week.
Yes.
We had a busy weekend.
Yep. Alan and Ellen Wexler stopped by.
Oh, nice.
Hello.
How's it going? Yeah, it has been a while. I know Sunday's hard, but we're hoping to catch up with you guys soon. I have a lot to tell you. Mar Solis is here. Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming. And celebration. Yep, it is Shirley and Audrey. Good.
Great.
So,
awesome.
What'd we do?
We did a lot. This weekend, I have to say, Art Yard had a fantastic performance in their theater. So if ever you're in Frenchtown, New Jersey, you must check them out. The Bread and Puppet Theater show had a presentation of Ophelia. We were blown away.
It was phenomenal. I had goosebumps.
Yes.
And the place was packed, so I was really happy for the theater and being able to pull all of that together.
Yep.
And then Friday night, we did the...
Well, and I just want to say Ecstatic Decrepitude. It's up for one more week. They stop on July 31st, so if you're in the area, it's really important to go see it.
I'm telling you.
Really
it's the best show around. It's really fantastic.
Yeah.
So then Friday night, we got to go to the Story Slam, which we were telling you all to come to.
Yes.
It was good.
Yeah, and every month they do a different theme. So this month was roller coaster. And I tried to put something together. I couldn't quite get my act together, but you spoke.
I got goaded into it at the last minute.
Yeah. So he gave a fantastic performance there.
You know, it's intimidating, though, because Gina Sampaio, who runs the Story Slam, is an amazing storyteller. And I love to listen to her. I mean, she's got this fantastic energy, this great enthusiasm, and she's hilarious. Like, she really knows how to put a story together and tell it. And because of that, she's actually been on The Moth.
Yeah.
The Moth a couple of times. And, oh, wow, John Park gifting 10 subs to people. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. That is beautiful. But Gina so she's been on The Moth a couple of times.
Yeah.
And for you guys, I queued up a little bit of her, just a snippet.
Yeah.
And so I want to let you listen to that really quickly because I think I was inspired on Friday.
And we're hoping that more people come every month. So hopefully this will inspire
some people to get you over there. So listen to this listen to 1 minute of Gina because I think you're really going to like her. So just check this out for me.
I don't think they told us anything about transracial adoption in those classes. The most they might have said was something along the lines of, if you are white and have a black child placed with you, please, for the love of God, get some help with their skin and hair. And so I turned to my black friends and I asked for help, and they helped me, and they also taught me things like that my little black boy was only going to be cute in the eyes of the public for a certain age, and then he would somehow overnight be perceived as threatening to the public, and that it was going to happen much sooner than I would anticipate. And I listened to them, and I learned from them, but I didn't experience any of that harsh reality yet. And our case moved along, and we were given the go-ahead to adopt him. And I got some paperwork in the mail. It was an adoption subsidy agreement. And next to the name of our adorable, funny, very loved, and very wanted son was the reason for the monthly subsidy that he was going to get. And it was checked off, child is hard to place, African American. And I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. And then one day we got a phone call from our caseworker, and I wasn't expecting it, and I could tell something was up, and I was right, because she said, "Do you have room for another baby?"
All right, so that's just a little taste of Gina on the Moth, and I gotta tell you, I think you should check that out at some point. Look her up on there, because I think
they're thinking of a theme for next month, but you guys have to come.
And you could come out and kind of be part of that, which is kind of really fun. Now, we got some people coming in really quickly. I see Jamie Foster out there. Let's see. I see Joseph is here. Susan Michael is here. So thank you to all of you.
Joseph
this is really,
hello.
yeah, good to see everybody.
Great. Yeah.
So, so that's Gina. That's the Moth. We got to drink.
Yeah, we do have to drink.
We got to start the celebration.
Yeah, let's start the celebration. Ooh, how fancy.
What did that? Did you see that? It kind of disappeared.
It did. Look at that. It's like the ghost glass.
It's catching the reflection of the green screen.
Yeah. What green screen?
Right. We don't have a green screen. We are in a pub.
There's nothing to see here.
Look at this. This is genuine champagne. This is not fake champagne.
No.
So anyway, I was thinking. Hold on a minute. I got to get my act together here, so I can properly open this. All right. So we've got some really nice La Marca Prosecco, which gets a little funky in the green screen, but.
Can you turn that off? Wow, bad timing.
I'm gonna take this. Sorry. Hello? Hi, Gina. Are you watching the show? Can't you put it in the chat? Oh. All right. I'll tell her. All right. See ya. Bye. That was Gina. She sees that we're pouring drinks.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, hang on a second. I'm coming right over.
What?
Yeah, she's coming right over.
Huh.
I don't know. Oh my God, she's coming in. Who's coming in the door?
Oh my God.
Whoa, what's going on?
You have room for me here, right?
I think we do have room
Oh
for
my God,
you
this
here.
is wild.
Do you have a third glass?
I do have a third glass. It's almost as if we were hoping someone would join us tonight.
Wow, holy cow.
Well, I never say no to a glass of Prosecco.
Okay.
As a matter of
Let's
fact,
scoot in.
Okay.
We can make it tight at the bar.
all right,
I'm gonna
good. Is that
open up
good?
some-
Are we
yeah,
comfy?
This
Yeah,
is
I think
great.
this is great.
excellent.
Oh my God,
Wow.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
We are honored to have you here for our 100th.
Well, I'm honored to be here for your 100th. And I have a secret plan to have a club of Vespa riders who drive around and eat and drink things that end with O, like prosciutto, Prosecco. So this is my first foray, although I am still the only member in my club. But that's okay.
Can we be in your club?
You can, but you don't have a Vespa, do you?
Oh, we have to get this.
I'll have one tomorrow.
I know you. You'll have two tomorrow.
I think your Vespa is so freaking cool. And I have to tell you, I have another artist friend who has a Vespa, and he lives nearby. And he comes around on that Vespa and basically comes down the large hill here on this Vespa. Now, the thing that I hope John's not watching, I mean, I hope he is watching, but one of the things I find so endearing, not amusing, but endearing about this is John is like 6'9" and weighs about 325. John, that may be an exaggeration. It is all muscle. But he is like this massive person on this tiny little bike. Do we want a little Saint Germain?
Oh,
Ooh.
it is a special occasion.
Does that go in the
I
Prosecco?
gotta put more in. Yes, I gotta put more. A little of that,
you.
little flavor,
Ooh,
a little floral. Gina, let me put a little more in your
Alrighty.
glass because this is not good.
I don't say no.
Everybody, you should also know that on our 100th episode, this is the first time we have ever had another person in the bar in Teenies with us, officially on the show, I mean. We've had some of you, like John and Jess Park have been here, and of course Jim Osmond has been here, and Carolyn Thau has been here, and of course my mom's been here. But anyway, here's to episode 100. Let us know.
100.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Let us know what you're drinking in the chat. It's great to have you all.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's yummy.
Right, the Saint Germain's just a little.
And you're right. You smell it out of the bottle and you don't think you should drink it, but then you should drink it actually.
Right, it's really quite
You
nice.
should drink it.
Oh my gosh, so let's see what we got here. We've got, this is funny, just fab, ha, I love it, rad scooter, Gina. One Good King's like brilliant. Marcellus is like, this is good. Thank you, everybody. Many Vespas here at the Delaware beaches. Oh.
I can't get down there though. I can't ride on the interstate. I'm gonna have to put it on a.
Can you do all back roads?
Might take a while.
Yeah, a couple of
As in like
hours.
days. Could take days.
That might be okay.
So let's see. Another funny thing on the way to the show is earlier I spoke to my mom, and she's like, oh, are you working really hard on the show? I said, yes. She goes, do you have all kinds of special effects? I'm like, what do you mean special effects? She's like, well, it's the 100th. You should have like special effects. And so I said, like what? And she's like, well, like fireworks. And so I was like, okay, so Mom, this is for you, okay? It's nothing spectacular, but here we go. I mean, if you have your sound, I mean, we can't hear it, but there's some, I hope it's not too loud for the dogs. But there's your fireworks. That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Okay, the fireworks sound is just like blowing everything up. So this is good.
So cheers, everybody.
All right, so
100.
100 shows. We're going to do a couple of giveaways tonight, which I will activate throughout the show. They're going to be quick. So if you want in on those giveaways, you got to get in on it. Now, I would like to say a quick thank you, as we're saying thank yous for all these wonderful subs. I want to say thank you to Sandra Chamberlain, who became a patron of ours on Patreon today. So thank you for that, Sandra. That was really nice. And you can support us, right? So number one, follow the show on whatever channel you prefer. Support the show either through Patreon or through thelargeglass.org. There's a support tab there that you could go to. That would help a lot. Anyway, thanks for that. Yeah. All right. So we'll give some stuff away later. So what's the plan, Gina?
Well, so I was thinking about the fact that the first time I met you was at something called Art in the Barn.
That's right.
I was really excited to be invited to a group of artists sitting around a barn creating art. But the only problem is that for the past few years, my art has primarily been writing and performing, which is not an easy thing to sit around a barn with other artists and work on. And I started to, which I've had before, kind of had this like feeling like maybe this isn't art, what I'm doing. Like maybe words aren't art, maybe performance isn't art. It's silly, but it's something that happens. And so I just find it really fun that now I'm here with you talking about art, but it's not your drawings or sculptures, and it's not any of your artwork or embroidery or anything. It's about this new art form that you are, jointly creating, which is spoken word and performance. So I just kind of love how it's come around and, helpful to me to also consider this as art. But I mean, it is. Do you guys ever struggle to think about the fact that you're creating entirely new content every single week? And do you think about this as art? And does it take away time from your other art? And does that make it difficult?
I'm going to let you go first on that one. That's a great question.
That is a great question. I do think of it is art. I think it's a different way to present artists in probably ways they haven't seen before, because we usually see interviews, but I don't think we see it as relaxed and casual. And I think we catch a lot of moments that artists are a little bit more vulnerable and they share with us that they probably wouldn't share in a more formal interview. Like, it's not pre-planned. We're just going to drink and talk and have a good time. So, yeah, in a way, I do think it's a different...
It's funny, I hadn't thought about this until now, until you asked this question. Although I have thought about it, but not putting it in the package of it as art making. Yes, it takes away time from the other things we want to do. And actually, we have moments of extreme tension around that, where I'll say to Terri, I'm like, oh my gosh, we should do this new thing. We should add this new thing. And Terri's like,
say when?
I don't have any
What
time to add a new
what
thing.
time in the day?
Yeah.
So, but then I do, just like in my art, I say to myself, well, what is it I'm trying to say? Like, what is the problem I'm trying to solve? What am I trying to get out of me and out into, the world? And content making, which is extremely time consuming, we already know that, requires creativity. Because even if it's like, okay, I made a silly little fireworks show for the screen, that's not really what I'm talking about. It's like, how do we choose who we want to talk to? How do we nuance our questions or our style in a way that is effective?
Right.
So yeah.
And so you had told me about how during the pandemic, I mean, this was kind of born because you saw something on Twitch, which I thought was a great story. If you want to repeat that, first of all, because that was, I don't know if your audience knows.
Some know and some don't know. So the pandemic had just started.
Yes.
Everything had shut down.
Yeah.
And we were doing a couple of things. One, we were sort of like trying to figure out what we were going to do and how long this was going to last. We weren't seeing our friends. And we had just purchased one of those little Apple TV boxes that goes, and gives you the channels. And I was installing that, and you were hanging out in the living room. And when the menu came up, there were all these beautiful colored little boxes. And one of them was Twitch. And Terri was like, what's Twitch? And I said, Twitch is a channel where young gamers sit around and watch other people play video games. And she's like, you're kidding me. People watch that? And I said, yeah, they do. And by the tens of thousands, like, it's incredibly lucrative. And so we turned it on just to kind of look at it. And we found a channel in Twitch called IRL. So we opened that up, and there are these little thumbnails of what you're about to watch. And here we see on this, in this thumbnail, this like young girl on her bed, like putting on eye makeup. And we noticed that it had like 4,000 people watching
her.
And we're like, why is someone watching this? So Terri's like, put it on. So we turn it on. And I look, and she's not saying anything.
Right.
She's just putting on the mascara.
It was rather fascinating, though, wasn't it? Because people are drawn to watching that. But we figured we can create some content.
Well, Terri said, maybe we could go on this and talk about art. And I said, no one on this will watch us. No one. And then it turned out that we'd have to bring our own audience with us. And we've slowly built that audience.
Right.
But that's kind of the story of where it began. People were throwing money at her. Like, she was getting subs like crazy. I was like, wow, I should be 17 and have eye makeup.
So then from that, like, okay, we should talk about art. And then, so how did you, but then clearly you didn't just start the next day. You just found somebody to interview. Like, what was the process to decide exactly, I mean, even the large glass, I mean, that you're at a bar, obviously. Was there anything to say about the creation of that, like how you guys came up with that, everything about the concept and how you first started finding artists to interview?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was very incremental. Like, the bar thing came from missing going out to a bar, and we were goofing around. We're like, let's make our own bar.
Right.
You have a background for that and a green screen. So it kind of built on so incrementally, and then we're like, hey, let's make a show. Okay, let's talk about artists. So then we first featured Isaac Cordell. We were talking about it. We had such a good time drinking and talking about him, and people were joining in. So we're like, oh, this is cool. And then the second show was Carla Knight. And then I loved it because art's not my primary background, because I do other a couple of other things too. So it was actually a way for me to kind of get into art. I really missed it. And I got to learn about a new artist every week because I was responsible for talking about them. I certainly wasn't going to give any erroneous information if I could help it. So to me, it was this whole learning process. And as we talked and built our audience, you know, I was very scared to tell artists that we were talking about them because I didn't want to do anybody a disservice. But as we started chatting, we started putting the word out there when we were getting encouragement, and then other artists would see us talking about them, and then they were flattered, which we were delighted because we're like, okay, good, we got this right. And then we'd invite them on the show, and then little by little, the artists started joining us.
Right.
Yeah.
And Susan Michaels says, I have been watching past episodes and really appreciate the broad scope of artists, which we try really hard, you know, to really cultivate. There's a little sub story in what Terri just told that was one of the most convincing and endearing moments, I think, and it really sort of reflected how lonely the pandemic could be.
Yeah.
And what it was I had built the bar. I had built Teeny's where we're sitting right now when we first started. And, you know, it's no secret. There's a green screen and you know, we're sort of, and in front of us on the screen, you can see us as if we're in the bar, right? We see us as you see us. But if you turn around, we see the magic shield is broken, right? So one night I came downstairs and all of the equipment was on and Terri was sitting here by herself with a glass of wine. And I was like, oh my God, are you just like hanging out in the bar? And she's like, it's so nice. And I'm like, oh wow, we're in a
There was a virtual reality thing.
But it was so sad.
It
You were so, like, we hadn't seen
I
anybody
did
and
that.
I was like, wow, this bar really works.
Yeah, it really did.
Everybody should have one.
Susan Michael says, aw. Yeah.
Oh man, it's kind of sad, but it's kind of, you know, it's one of these stories that's like a pandemic story, you know.
Yeah.
And now you're allowed to go to bars again, so
We're allowed
it's
to go
okay.
to bars
And we
again.
can still go to this bar, so it's good.
Right.
So I was thinking about how you told me such a funny little anecdote about the dog and seeing the green screen. So W.C. Fields said something about you should never perform with children or animals. And that's what I was thinking about with the dog, and that's a story that you should tell. I would have a harder problem with the liquids, but but you told me that wasn't a problem. But I'll try to control myself and not spill anything
All good.
here.
Don't worry.
But yeah, please tell the story about the dog and seeing the green screen come out, because that just made me laugh.
Well, so the dog has kind of grown up with the show. We got the dog months into this show. I mean, you're talking about when the dog sees the green screen come out, right?
Yeah.
So, so we introduced the dog, Maybe, her name is Maybe, to you on our New Year's Day episode.
Right.
Shoot, I should have had that one queued. I didn't have that one
Sorry.
Hold on.
We've got shows queued.
Yes.
But anyway, she's grown up with this. And every Tuesday night,
That was episode 16, if you guys care.
every Tuesday night, we bust out the green screen and we start setting up for the show. And Maybe knows that it's time to go in her crate. And she does not like it necessarily. And so at first it was like she didn't get it. But then the months go by, she starts to mature. She's now going on 2. And what she does now is when she sees the green screen come out, she lays down on the floor all chill, like, look at me. I'm going to be so good tonight that you don't have to put me in the crate. She stretches out like, I'm not going to move.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we
She
still won't
looks
fall
at us
for it.
like, see how good I am?
And you should test that sometime.
No,
See what-
not a chance, because I know it will fail.
Yes,
I
she'll
know
start
it.
acting like a lunatic.
I'm going to pop over really quickly just because we have a slideshow running right now that is basically all the live artists that we have ever featured on the show.
I love
And a
that.
couple of slides from them. And it's in order, but it's starting from somewhere in the middle and just kind of rolling. So it's probably more fun to see a little bit of that along with the questions.
Yeah. I will say that of the 100 episodes we've done, 47 of the episodes feature live artists. There have been a couple, like the Brownstone Art Photography Show. We featured about 6 or 7 artists on that one. So there have been some group collaborations. 100 and Art Tour, we featured like a ton of artists.
Yeah.
But we've had almost half of them be live artists. And we feel really lucky and privileged to have had all those people join us to talk about their work.
Yeah,
Really cool.
and I really want. And Jamie Foster says about the story with you sitting in the bar. She said, "I hope you bought her a drink and took her home." I did, Jamie. I very very gently, got her out to the car and brought her home. But I really want to engage the chat tonight to sort of, like if you have a particular moment in this that was either rewarding or particularly frustrating. Like I know I've had my share of technological goofs along the way. Or if what's something you hate that we do? Like what's something we should change? Like what do we do that's not good? I would love to hear the answer to that question. So anyway, for what it's worth. So.
I was thinking about, do you remember Romper Room?
Of
Did
course.
you watch Romper Room and the Magic Mirror?
Yeah.
The way you engage with your audience, it has a very Magic Mirror vibe to it. I remember watching that show and being like desperately wanting her to call my name through the Magic Mirror, and she never did. But it just, I've been performing live since I was 4 years old. Actually, I was first on a stage. And I'm very comfortable in front of an audience. And of course, over the past 2 years, I have done a number of Zoom presentations and things, and it's not the same. I mean, you're by yourself. I wasn't even in a fake bar, just by myself talking. And even though maybe there were question and answer period at the end or something, it wasn't like this. Yeah. I feel like everybody that gets their name called out when they in chat, that is like being called out in the Romper Room in the Magic Mirror.
It's funny. I feel like there is such a loyalty to our viewers. They're here tirelessly. And I've actually had viewers that can't make a show. They'll email me during the week and say, I'm not gonna be able to make the show this week because I'm doing the following. As if they have to qualify.
Engage with them,
And it feels so good to have such a loyal group of people say, we're behind you.
Yeah.
And when we're not able to make it, we're gonna let you know. So I want to call them out. I want to engage them as much as I can.
No, I love it because it feels just very much like they are a part of the show and not just watching. I mean, they are, like I said, you're engaged with them. You say their name, you're interacting with them, and they even tell you if they're not going to be here. That's really cute.
As a matter of fact, if one person had perfect attendance on this show, one person, it would be Ben Hagenbush.
Yeah.
Because I think every single person, including my mom, has had to miss for some reason or another. And what's weird is I haven't seen Ben Hagenbush in the chat tonight.
Where are you?
So I'm like, all right, if he's
Ben,
going to
are you
miss one,
there?
let him miss the 100th. He's like, there aren't any artists on tonight. I don't want to watch. Thanks, Jamie, for that.
Yes, we do have an artist on.
Well, I didn't mean it like that. Jamie Foster, thanks for that sub.
Thank
That's
you so much.
awesome. Thank you. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so about Ben Hagenbush. So Ben, if you're on, chime in. Come on, I need to know that you're here. Anyway.
Yeah.
So when you were saying about that you really got to learn about art a lot, which I love that was kind of like a side effect for you that maybe you didn't even anticipate. So, the artists, some of them have come to you, some of them you have sought out, but you always then research their work, do a little interview with them beforehand, like a quick touch base, or you talk with them about what you're going to...
The interviews are mostly the pre-interview, which the audience never really sees. It's quick 10-minute, hey, this is... do you guys have any ideas of how you want to be featured? Because some artists have different... agendas. Like some artists have a show coming up, some artists...
that they definitely want mentioned.
Or some artists have things they don't want to touch.
Right.
We primarily say, what don't you want to talk about? Because we don't want to go into areas that make people uncomfortable, in their work. So that's a big one that we try to cover as well.
So even, setting some ground rules with them and going over what you'll talk about, there still have to be surprises.
Oh, yeah.
There are, and there's even surprises with us. We make it known, we don't discuss the work beforehand because it takes away from that organic feel of natural conversation that you would have in a bar.
Yeah.
So we don't talk about it. We don't argue. There have been a couple of instances where we talked to the artist and we did bring up certain things like, is it okay if we go here? Is it okay if we go there? But that's about the very base level of where it is.
Well,
usually our pre-conversations have to do with technical stuff.
Okay.
Is your sound okay? What's your Wi-Fi like? You know, things like that.
I know of a situation where I know of two situations where we had surprises.
Yeah.
Should we look at them?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So in one episode, one thing that really surprised us was something that Jane Fine had said about. Well, let me just play it for you really quickly, and you can listen to it. Let's check this out. I think this was a moment where Terri and I were kind of like, "Whoa."
Yeah, sure. Okay. So 2018, I had a rather dramatic. It was actually just before the show opened, but I didn't really get to make much work about it. I found out that I was. That I had a pretty big family secret, and basically we did 23andMe over here, and I found out that the man that raised me was not my biological father. And I'm sure by now most people in the audience have read or heard one place or another some stories of the last few years of these 23andMe shocks, and there's a surprisingly large percentage of people who are going through this. And it is truly amazing. It's a kind of a shock that's not. I'm not going to say it's not like any other, because I don't know about all sorts of shocks, but it's a kind of shock that doesn't cause you physical pain. It's not war and it's not death, but it's like it's like a disorientation that's so dramatic, like a redirection.
Yeah. So when Jane told us that she found out the man who raised her was not her biological father, we had kind of talked to her about this a little bit before the show came on, and so we had a little time to process. That wasn't a total surprise. However, what was the surprise there? And I mean, you were the one who actually brought this one up as being like a really hard-hitting one. For me, it was how it impacted her work.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I felt like we all of a sudden now turned the conversation to her painting.
Well, it influenced how she processed things and how she put them back out, because she said, imagine walking your whole life on the floor, you got the two walls beside you and there's the ceiling, and then all of a sudden you find out that the floor is actually a wall and the floor is over here, and you've been walking on the wrong plane the whole time. And it kind of put some of her work into perspective too, and she was dealing with a lot of metaphors and motifs and trying to process that. That's one of the most valuable things I think we get when we talk to artists, like that vulnerable moment that causes them to create. Like for me, the empathetic standpoint of where they're coming from is probably, bar none, probably the most important thing, because I can really understand a person, and it makes me appreciate the art and the emotion so much more. So
yeah, and then there's one more. Can we show one more that kind of like totally surprised us?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So this one was Frank Holiday, and the Frank Holiday episode. If you're gonna get if you're gonna
see one episode, they're all great, but Frank Holiday was just, oh my gosh, he was fun.
And we had this preliminary meeting with Frank, and we always stress when we ask, hey, what should we drink on the show? We always stress we don't have to drink alcohol. And Frank was like, well, I don't drink. I'm a recovering alcoholic, but you guys go ahead. And we were like, okay, are you sure? And he's like, oh, absolutely, I would love that. So there were two moments in Frank Holiday. This was one of them.
And so much more. We are pleased to present Frank Holiday tonight. Welcome, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Grant me the serenity to accept. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. I was just reading my AA Big Book. Don't mind me. Hi. How are you?
We're great. How are you? So, Frank.
still funny.
Frank comes on the air reading his AA book. We had no clue that was coming. I thought that was really hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
But these are just small ones. I mean, we've got so many to answer that question
so
about
many
surprises. Oh my God, I could go on
yeah.
for.
Yeah, it's been really.
Well, I mean,
fantastic.
there have been 99 shows, so
Yes, there have been.
Yeah.
There have been.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have a surprise on this show.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you were the surprise.
Yeah.
But do you have a surprise giveaway?
Oh, we do have a
Now's
surprise
a
giveaway.
good chance for a giveaway.
Frank was a very colorful person.
He was a very colorful person.
What should we give away? You want to tell us?
Well, we should give away a fantastic must-have book for your library.
Oh my gosh, wait, I gotta go back to the main screen so that we
main
can actually
screen.
see it. We always love to. Oh, there's Gina. I told you to remind me to turn that off.
I tried to remind you to write it down or something. Oh, wait a minute, I don't know what you're talking about.
An artist's library or someone who's Joseph Alber's Interaction of Color, which I think is a great book, and Terry's holding it right now for all of you. So, are the fireworks going off too?
What?
No, they can't be. They can't be going off. I can only hear the fireworks. I'm in hell.
That's actually perfect.
Okay,
'cause,
well, you know.
we're giving away a book.
Okay, that should fix that. John,
They're
Thank
fine
you.
now.
Thank you.
I'm fired.
But we have to have technical
Henceforth,
glitches.
the large glass shall be hosted by Terry and John Park because he's got me. Sorry about that. So that's a Streamlabs. That's our broadcasting software.
Yeah.
That's a Streamlabs thing. I'd like to see
a little
them
glitchy.
fix.
Yeah.
Well, it's not glitchy. It's everything defaults to on.
We
so
didn't
when
hear anything you said. So we're giving away that book.
we're giving
that we
away
just
that
showed.
book, which is Joseph Alber's Interaction of Color, I should say. So I'm going to put this up. I'm going to start this now. It's going to take about 15 minutes to run. For those of you who don't know how to enter a giveaway here, you do have to be over on the Twitch side of things. So go over to twitch.com/Todd Lambrix, and you'll actually be able to see the show there. You will have to follow the channel, which just basically takes clicking a heart, and then you can enter this. Now, the way you enter is in the chat. You are going to type !raffle, all one word, space, and a number between 1 and 500. Those are your viewer loyalty points. You can spend up to 500. Those are free. You don't have to buy them. And the more you put in, the more chance you will have to win. So don't worry if you screw it up. We'll help you out along the way, but we're going to get that going right now. So, Jesse did a little bit early. So try that again. And yeah, so let's give it away.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
This is
gonna,
fascinating.
yes, people are going to start to get into that right now.
I love it. So back to speaking about art.
Yes.
And not art books that are being given away.
Right.
So I might be projecting here, but I find when I'm exposed to other people's art, like you are every single week and also in between that, my reaction is either like, wow, I'm not doing anything, I don't make art. Or like, wow, that's really inspiring. I can, find some inspiration in this and do it in my own medium or in my own style or just, make some kind of spin off of that or just, feel inspired by it. So do you have either one of those reactions or did you particularly from any artists feel inadequate or,
Yes.
or inspired? I mean,
Go ahead first. I've got a couple here.
It's been a little bit of both. Like, I would say one of the most powerful artists in my mind was Alan Wexler, because I love the way his mind thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can actually solve some of the problems that we're facing in the world today. For example, when he did the World Trade Center and he designed the way that the cleaning crew would close the blinds, and it would actually solve some of the bird problems that we were having when the birds were flying into the windows and some environmental issues. So he had so many innovative, creative ideas, and it was a lot about problem solving. So I loved watching how his mind worked and how he played with different things. And that was like I felt like out of my element with him because he's brilliant. And then there have been other artists that have come on and they've done different things here and there. And like Pam Glick, she runs these drawing tutorials online. And I loved watching her. And I sat down doing some of her doodles. And there have been people like that, like Matthew Collings. I wanted to do his drawings. And yeah, there have been a couple people that were really
totally. From the inspirational standpoint, from the inadequate standpoint. Because I think that's another good one, right? And again, this goes back to, well, this content creating is a kind of art making to a degree. It certainly takes up time.
Right, but it doesn't have something tangible at the end that you hang on the wall or that somebody you give as a gift or something. Yeah.
Right. And so I guess when it came to being, or at least feeling, a little bit inadequate, we had a show with John Roach, who is primarily a sound artist. He does a lot of installation work. He builds objects. He does a lot of research around the way sound works. And then he builds mechanisms to both explore, invent, and sort of project sound in different and new ways. And it's really interesting work, and I love to see and hear what he does. But he also has this way about him that is ridiculously organized. And so typically what happens when we are preparing for a show is we'll put together a slideshow. We do it in Google Slides, and then we share it like we have it up here on the screen right now. And I will often offer the artist that we're talking to, I'll be like, hey, I'll share the slideshow with you if you'd like to check it out.
Right.
And if there's something missing, put it in. So I shared the slideshow with John before I had put anything in it. And 2 days later, when I go to start populating it, it's done.
He did the
The
whole
whole thing was done.
It was the only show
And I
that
was
we
like,
didn't do the slideshow. He did it.
He did the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have an example of his work that I would love to show.
Yeah,
So
okay.
he did a residency, a month-long residency out at Zion National Park. And he was doing a lot of explorations in sound in the park. And in this video we're going to watch of his, which I think really exemplifies a lot of the work he does. There's a time-lapse video of a section of the canyon that gets very, very cold at night, and the liquids that seep out through the rock freeze into icicles. But then as the sun comes up and reflects off the wall, it warms up, and the icicles break free and fall and echo through the area.
That's really cool.
And so there's this constant cycle in effect. So he time-lapsed the video, but then really meticulously recorded the sound, and then he paired them. So this video, this little segment of this is really quick, but you'll kind of get an idea for how far out there the work is. And if there's the definition of me feeling inadequate, it might have been in the face of this. So let's check this one out really quickly.
In that image, you see that black stripe. And all of those white little slash marks are giant icicles that have formed from this seep. And so what you'll see in this video is that every day at around 9 o'clock, the sun peaks up over the canyon, sweeps this wall, heats the whole thing up, and it just starts dropping all of these massive icicles onto the stones, onto the other ice, onto this frozen lake below. And that really was like, that kind of set the tone for me in terms of the intensity. Like, this is not Disneyland. This is a dangerous place, and it's intense. And so for me, it was like, that really kind of started me off thinking about that and really set the tone for the beginning of my stay.
All right, so put your headphones on if you have them, or turn your volume up, because we're going to play. This is a time lapse, correct, John?
Right. So I should say that it's a time lapse, and then I've overlaid the sound of the icicles falling. So they're not in time with one another, but you'll get the idea.
Yeah. All right, so grab your headphones. Here we go. Let's give this a shot. a
Fantastic.
really, really powerful piece. So anyway, and by the way, Alan Wexler was on here saying thank you for your kind words, and he said your discussion of my work was so perceptive and revealing to me. That's like,
Yeah, that's coming from
thank you, Alan.
one of our
Thank you.
heroes.
That
Yeah,
feels good.
definitely.
And Alan, I know you remember that we had some technological issues with the sound on that show. Otherwise, I was going to put a
Yeah.
clip up, but it's still not perfect, which means, you know what I'm
gotta
going to
come back
ask. We got to come back on. We need a
The whole
do-over.
thing.
I really loved that with the one you just showed. I don't usually think that nature could be enhanced upon, but seeing it, compressed and having the sound really amplified really made it very
And when you have the headphones on, it's thunderous.
Yeah.
It was just
that was
fantastic.
very
was a-
magical.
That was great.
So you did already touch upon this a little bit, but so any of the artists really inspired to go then make new art in your own medium? I mean, you said that you practiced some of the tutorials and maybe some of the
drawing
the drawings,
techniques. Yeah,
right.
I did try with some of the artists, and then I had an idea, like every week, maybe I should just try one piece in the style of the artist that we are talking about, just to kind of like copy them, and you can learn a lot from copying an artist as, a study.
Yes.
So I had thought about doing that too, but the time factor is just not there right now.
But I think, as a study, as an educational study, I mean, because we do this with students all the time, right? Copy the work of the masters or the sketchbooks, etc. There is something to be learned there, right? And it's not going to, in the end, it's not going to look like their work. It's not going to be like their work, but there is something to be gleaned and put into what you genuinely would do. And I think that's a fantastic thing. I haven't done that so much, but I still learn something, like Jim Osmond, for example. Like, I've been in Jim's studio a number of times. I love the way he works. And every time I walk out of his studio, I bring something with me because, and it comes directly from his practice, directly from his tool set. And I take that home. No, I don't make the work he makes.
Right.
But I think we all sort of learn from each other that way. So.
Right. And about, enough hours in the day or the week, that also made me think about, so you guys, you found the inspiration to start the show, you found how you were going to make it your own, but I mean, the motivation to continue, and like, did you think you were going to get to 100 episodes? And how do you, I mean, you obviously prioritize this, but but
we did prioritize it. And even in the beginning, because we were having a really good time with it, and Todd's like, we have to do, when Todd gets into something, he's all in. So he was like, we're going to do this every Tuesday night. And I was just like, what if something happens? People get sick, And we made a lot of sacrifices. We cut some events short. I will say we didn't miss anything major. We might have cut some time out here and there.
Yeah.
And you really did every single Tuesday.
We did every single
one.
Tuesday.
This is the 100th Tuesday.
We even did it with COVID.
Yeah, we even
did
had
it with
COVID.
Yeah.
Can I give away the book real quick?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I want to do that, but wait, One Good King says, what's the
yeah.
bigger picture for TLG? I submit TLG is binge-worthy on any of the major platforms. My man, that feels really good.
That does feel really good.
And I have to tell you, hearing something like that, I'm going to give away this book in a second, but hearing something like that, I'll admit, Terri and I struggle with what the bigger picture is for this. With 2 years in the pandemic and me being a teacher, I was home mostly. There was a very good chunk of time there to steer this thing down, whatever the big road it was going to go down. And then there's this other, and so you think about this from the standpoint of a growth model, like a business, and we do think about it that way, but we also think about it from the standpoint of a non-growth model where it's like, we love to talk to artists. What if we just keep doing this?
Yeah.
So in the end, we do realize that we need a voice for us. We need someone, we need to hear that One Good King. That's a big deal. We also need somebody to say, okay, here's how to do this.
Yes.
Right? Because we feel like we do a good thing. I hope we do. But I think we need some business guidance. Anyway, let's give away a book. We're going to give away Joseph Alber's Interaction of Color. I'm going to pick that winner right now. Don't worry, we have another giveaway, and we're running out of time, so we got to fire that one up.
Yeah,
but
we do.
Let's do that right now. And of course, the software is not going to respond because Streamlabs, I love it. I love it. Hold on.
So this
We
is
will
how
get there. let's keep talking, and I'll make this
And
thing
then you're
function.
gonna make it work.
I will
Okay.
make it function. Yeah.
All right. But what if I ask you about something that you're going to have a video clip for? Is that going to mess things up?
Nope, I can do that. Don't worry.
Oh, you're so fancy.
Don't you worry.
So, like I said, I did start publicly performing when I was 4, which means I had a lot of living room shows before that. I'm very.
Love that.
I think that's why my mom put me on
Mom,
the stage. Like,
watch me.
Thank God. Let somebody else watch her for a change. But so obviously, I like costumes.
Oh boy.
And you guys have lots of costumes.
We love costumes
And
too.
I know. So,
Fun.
I mean,
Fun.
it's always for a special occasion, or
Right.
were there random costumes? What were your best costumes? Or like, what's memorable? Did you have one that you threw together last minute?
No.
Did any
Yes.
artists?
We did?
No,
Yes.
yes.
For our,
Oh, we didn't
had
queue up
an
the 80s one.
Oh,
For our, was it our 40th?
It was our
Um,
40th episode.
Which one was it? Because we went back in time and we covered artwork from 1981.
We went back 40 years for episode 40.
That's right.
Oh.
And we quickly threw costumes together because we were thinking all I did was flip my hair over
She
and
was
I
Ali
was Ali
Sheedy
Sheedy.
and I had
Oh,
Wayfarer, so I
nice,
was the
nice,
geek.
yeah.
And
So
we-
there was that one. So that one was thrown together.
Uh-huh.
But the other ones have mostly been planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Here comes that book. Hopefully it's going to work. Pumpkin Audrey always wins the book. Good job, Pumpkin Audrey.
Congratulations.
Nice job. You're going to like that one, actually, I
Yeah,
think.
that's a great book.
John Park says, by the way, shout out to One Good King for also gifting the 10 subs. It came at a time other stuff was happening in the show earlier, so just wanted to make a note of that. All right, I'm going to fire up. Can we talk about the other? I'm going to show some costumes.
Yeah, show some costumes, and then you have another giveaway. We're running
I have
out of
another
time.
giveaway that
Yeah,
we want to
yeah.
do. So let's get that. I'm going to start another giveaway. What are we giving away so we can run it right now?
So we are going to be giving away an awesome pack of Stabilo art crayons. These were featured in the episode with Matthew Collings on, I believe that was 94. But this is actually the material that he uses to create those awesome drawings that you can buy for the Artist Support Pledge. They are British. Children typically use these. They're very waxy, they're thick, they're easy to use, and they can be used in a variety of different ways. They can be used as a crayon. They can also be used as watercolor. You can draw on glass. They're easy cleanup, and they come with a sharpener in there. So they are super cool. We love them. Our kids love them. They're great for adults. They're great for kids, and we're giving away a pack.
And to add to our terrible business sense, we are not sponsored by any of these people. We just
are
buy
not.
this stuff and give it to
And
you.
give it to you.
Because we love you.
Because we're cool, and you're cool, and we're spreading coolness.
And to show you how cool we are, I'm going to put up my favorite costume episode because I love all the costume episodes. I do. And I love costumes too. But of course, we did a show with Mike Rader. And I think that this one, for me, this is the one. But anyway.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Large Glass. I'm Han Solo. I'm Todd.
And I'm Terri.
How are you tonight? May the 4th.
I think I caught you a little off guard.
A
You
little
did
bit
not
off
get the memo.
guard. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm
I
hung.
will say he made my headphones last minute. He took some foam.
All right, I was
cut
Yeah,
some
wondering,
her,
I was
her
wondering
buns
about the
are
buns.
headphones.
Yeah.
Her
Yes,
buns are headphones,
yes.
which was
Oh,
fun.
I like that.
That was cool.
Let's see. We had another one for last Halloween.
Last Halloween.
This was a good one. I had fun with this one.
Yeah.
Of the evening, you're going to be having the pumpkin,
Yes.
Southern Tier pumpkin.
I don't know why.
And
I
I'm
keep
going to be
saying
having
that.
the. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me say this properly. You ready?
The Devil's Reach. I think that's appropriate.
And there's Shirley Perlinsky.
Hey,
Shirley,
Shirley.
thank you for the donation.
We're trying to be all casual after that.
So that was another one. And
Awesome.
then do I have another one? I think I have another one. We
Oh
had
yes, this one.
So
was
this was
another one.
this was our earliest attempt at costumes, and this one turned out to be an utter disaster.
It was a
Oh,
technological
nice.
disaster.
We had an
Yes.
app. This was probably our biggest tragedy doing a show.
and people were tuning in, and we couldn't get it.
So
cue.
so we had I digitally built an entire Star Trek 10 Forward from Next Generation. We were in it. We had the sound of the engines running. I had a galaxy behind us moving by. And I think people were seeing the thumbnail and popping in. And so what I didn't realize was, and I should know this because I've taught Adobe products for a long time, you got to keep all your files organized. And all my digital files were all over the place. And Streamlabs was like, where is everything? And we crashed. And I mean, we crashed hard.
We crashed very hard.
So the sound sucks. It's all glitchy.
Well, I will say we pre-recorded this then because that all fell to pieces. So then we were like, let's just get an episode together and we will release it later.
But it still sounds bad. I hadn't fixed everything, but here's the basic gist of it. Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the Halloween episode of The Large Glass.
Yes, we are not in Teeny's bar tonight.
We're not. We are aboard a certain well-known starship.
Yeah, I will say that our ship was having some problems today.
Yeah, so we had major problems today. So anyway, there we are again talking about our problems. But that was the older surround. I mean, this was what, episode 7?
Oh, that was like 6, I believe.
6 or 7.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it was
was
really early
Yeah, it says it
on.
over there, episode 6.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
Have any artists ever showed up in costume? Did you tell them in advance? I mean, it was Halloween week.
Mike
Mike
Rader
Rader.
put on a mask
He
for a
did.
production that he was going to do,
Right.
which was fun.
I think that was about
And that was it. Yeah, so no, if anyone's going to show up in costume, it's going to be Mike Rader.
Yes.
He's the guy. He's a fantastic performative. He does a wide range of things that, cross-pollinate painting, sculpture, performance. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Tracy Fox is out there. She says, congrats TNT on 100. We're late, but still had tonight, but had to still send
Love for the large glass, adding joy to our life.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. I know we don't normally call you by your name, but you're over on YouTube now, so your name is coming through.
We see you.
Right, we can see you. But thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So we're running a giveaway right now. Again, it's exclamation point raffle, all one word, space, and a number between 1 and 500, and you can win Stabilo crayons.
They're awesome. We have 2 packs in the house. That's how cool they are.
Oh.
We don't have 2 to give away.
We don't
These
have
things
to
are
do-
expensive.
They are expensive, but they should be because they're really nice.
They look really cool.
They are, and they're nice to hold too because they're like these thick crayons.
It's a good size.
It is a good
It feels good in
size.
your hand.
It does feel good in your hands.
So do I get to ask you a question?
You only have 2 minutes left, sir.
We could go over.
All right.
All right, cool.
Nobody kicks us off.
No one's going to kick us off. We basically run the
Okay.
show here. I'm curious about how the moth thing evolved. Obviously, the story is directly a part of your life.
Yeah.
And I find that's obviously the stories that are directly related to who we are the ones we can tell most passionately and powerfully and with the most detail. But there's also something to telling a story that has, and I think we find this sometimes when we're listening to other people tell stories, deciding on what is succinct enough, what has enough detail, where are we going into the superfluous. But how did the moth gig happen? And when it did, or when you knew that it was going to happen, did you panic? How did you prepare? What was that process like?
So a better example is probably what I do every month at Story Slam, because the moth is true stories told live, but you have a director that works with you. Secrets. And really helps you. And actually, that was fantastic because, I'd done other, like I said, performing my entire life. I had done a different, more local storytelling show in South Orange before, but having somebody work with me who had done, hundreds, probably thousands of these shows before, she was really able to help me figure out which questions, she would ask that I was like, oh, that's what people want to hear, and just honing word by word. So much so that my very first show in New York City, as I went up, there was one word, and I can't remember what it is now. We just kept on flip-flopping on whether or not we wanted this word in. So, yes, true stories told live, but we were like, is this word too provocative? Is this good or not? And especially, I was talking a lot about race. So, some things are very sensitive. And literally on my way up to the stage, I got, introduced, they say my name, and on the way up, she goes, don't say that word. And I was like, I'm going to kill you. But thank you, because you're a very good director, and you really helped me hone my skill.
Yeah.
Storytelling was not something I really thought about before. Like I said, I'd performed other people's words.
Yeah.
you know. I've been interviewed a lot. This is my first time interviewing, by the way.
It's been fun.
And so since that time, and I've done a lot of writing, so that really helped me figure out how do you tell a story, whether it's written or whether it's spoken, which parts, right, which are superfluous, which you can take out, how do you make it more succinct, what are people actually interested in, how much is too much information, how much is telling people what they can figure out. You have to trust your audience a little bit, that you don't have to spell everything out for them. And so that experience really helped me figure out how to tell a good story live.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's
tricky.
It is directed, though. No, I mean the moth.
Oh, yeah.
Unless it's a
yeah.
slam. Unless it's a slam, and then it's just whatever people. Come up
It
with.
was funny because when Gina started doing the Story Slam and we were interested in going, one of the things in the guidelines said, "Oh, well, look at the Moth's webpage for their guidelines, and then you'll have a little bit of guidance in coming in to tell your story." And one of the things it says on there is, you really shouldn't have notes.
You can't have notes, which scared me for the first
because I kept
because
saying,
I was like, I can't remember things from getting up there.
And I kept saying to Terri, I'm like, you're not allowed to have notes. So we bailed. But then everybody else had notes, and Terry's like looking at me. She's
not
like,
everybody else, but most
a lot
people,
of people. And she's like, they have notes.
Yeah.
They have notes.
At the coffee house, we're a little less strict.
Well, that's good.
Right.
That's good.
Do you know what the next?
So we're not exactly sure. It might be hair.
Oh, hair.
Yeah, there's a lot about hair. And it's funny because the clip that you played for me, I did say something about hair, right?
You did.
Yeah,
you did.
So that might be it. I mean, there's a lot of...
Another thing to point out really quickly is Gina is the director of the Lebanon Township Museum, which she took over and absolutely transformed what essentially was a small schoolhouse with a museum in it that was struggling and trying, transformed it into an absolute beautiful experience. I highly suggest can you tell us more about the Lebanon Township Museum so I don't butcher this?
Yes, I'd love to. So first of all, I just want to say that I have an associate curator, Robbie Lynn Wangi, who really helps me. We have a very good team because I am the wordsmith and she is the person that makes things really beautiful.
She's amazing.
She is amazing. So we are in an 1825 schoolhouse that is on the Musconetcong River in New Hampton. It was a schoolhouse for 100 years, and then it was a Sunday school for another couple of decades. And then after that, it was neglected, and then it became a museum in 1982. So we're celebrating our 40th anniversary right now.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
So
you've done a beautiful job.
Thank you so much. So we use our lower level as a changing exhibit space, and upstairs we have our permanent collection, and now we also have an annex where we have a restored horse-drawn sleigh that used to bring children to school. We have artifacts from the tuberculosis sanatorium, which you either love them or you hate them. That's what I found. People have mixed reactions to them.
I think Robbie Lynn is watching.
Hi, Robbie Lynn.
She said thank you. Or somebody known as Curators Lebanon Township Museum is watching.
It's not me, so.
It must be her.
It must be her. But we've really poured our hearts and souls into making it an interactive space, an interesting space where you can go and learn and have fun in all ages. There's something for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a beautiful space,
Thank you.
I'm fascinated by it. All right. Well, we're winding down. We're at 9:04.
You better pick your next winner.
Let's do it. And the
we gotta
last
pick a winner.
image on the screen was the Matthew Collings drawing. So
Oh,
you can
yes.
see what the Stabilos
So, can we go back there really
perfect
quickly?
timing.
Oh, we switched to
Now
Tom
we're at
McGlynn.
95.
Another good show.
Another
But
great
you have
show.
to get to 99, though. You're almost there.
We should run
That
it
was
right
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's
Did
what
we
I'm
roll all the
saying.
way over yet?
We did. We're on
I don't know.
episode
Did you?
95 right
Did it
now.
flip over, though? Did it go
We,
through?
we went all the way around.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
looping. It's looping because I know we saw the Tom McGlynn pieces before.
Yeah, 4 more artists and probably.
Okay, well, you can show that and pick your
Well,
winner.
you know what we could do?
Or
No, I'm going to show something better before we pick our winner. We're going to go look at not that, everybody, not that,
Not that.
and definitely not that.
Not that
but let's
either.
look at this really
Yeah,
quickly.
Matthew
Here's Matthew Collings
Yeah.
talking about the materials he uses.
A book of these and say, here's my comment on fake news. insofar as art goes.
Of course. Just apropos of the image of the artists with their mothers, my mother is asking in the chat room what medium you're using, and so I thought this would be a good time to talk about your choice of materials.
I can show you actually. I use a funny sort of children's crayon, which parents will know, called Woody Stabilo, which are very cheap. Is that on the screen? There,
not cheap. Over a little
Quite
bit.
They're
unfortunate.
not cheap, Matthew.
Oh wow, it's so hard. Oh, there it is.
I know
Yeah.
it's backwards and upside down.
Sort of great big child's crayon, and that makes that greasy opaque effect that makes it look a bit like oil paint. And then I use colored pencils of various kinds, mainly.
All right. So if you want to get in on this, exclamation point raffle space and a number between 1 and 500, and you'll be entered in. I'm going to draw that in less than a minute. So now is the time. Let's throw up our credits. Thankfully,
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Thankfully, the fireworks aren't going off.
Yes.
As far as we know.
So, anyway, this was 100. And, you know, I got to say, like one good king, that question you asked about the future of TLG, I kind of want to get either a beer or a coffee with you and sit down and talk about that. I would be interested in hearing what you have to say. So, for sure. Anyway,
Gina,
are we all in?
thanks for coming tonight. This was fun.
It was very fun.
Let's see. Oh, shoot. YouTube, Lebanon Township Museum. You have to be over on Twitch to do it. I apologize. I forgot to put that. Well, I said that earlier, but you might not have been here. So don't worry. You can come to our house and you can play with our crayons.
She would love them.
Oh, Sculptura is here.
Oh.
Jim, many thanks for your generosity, ingenuity, and energy during these trying integrity during these trying 2+ years. Thanks, Jim. That means a lot, man. We got to have you out. I'd love to see you.
Carthau is here.
Oh,
Hey,
Carolyn
guys.
Thau is here. Thank you, Carolyn. Hey, guys. Sorry, better late than never up in Maine. Thank you for joining us from
Thank
Maine.
you very much.
Jess Park says, this was fantastic. Great to meet Gina. Cheers to 100. Pumpkin Audrey, wow, what a fun show. Great to see Gina.
thank you.
Thanks, Terry and Todd. You've kept us entertained on
Now
Tuesdays.
it's like I'm on the magic mirror.
Yeah,
I know.
see?
Gina's here. They're all
Great,
talking to
Gina.
you.
Yeah.
John Park says, we love the show, as you know. John, Jess, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. Great job, Gina, and great to be introduced to you.
Thank you.
Marsolis, congrats again on 100 on 100. Here's to 100 more. So proud of you both. Marsolis, thank you so much for being one of our favorite mods. You are like lightning fast. Nobody gets past you. I love that.
Thanks, Mom.
Boo Jazz is here. Great show. Happy 100. Thank you, Boo Jazz. Boo Jazz has the single best collection of whiskey on earth. All right, should we draw the Stabilos?
Let's draw the Stabilos.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, we're closing the entries on the Stabilos. Picking the winner.
Yes, guess who?
Gee, I wonder who won the Stabilos.
Mom.
Mom won the crayons. You guys, I swear to God, this isn't
It's
rigged.
not rigged.
It's not rigged.
You can tell by the reaction.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's never my mother. My mother's got. If it's not my mother, it's Carolyn Thau. If it's not Carolyn Thau, it's Pumpkin Audrey.
Audrey. Those are usually
Boo Jazz has
the
won a
people.
couple.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, damn straight. He's like, damn straight. All right, listen, everybody. You guys are fantastic. I just poured the last little bit. We had
I think
another.
I have a couple little.
It lasted longer than I
I gotta
thought
tell you,
it was
I was
going to.
prepared to go to round two.
Yeah, I thought
no,
so
this
too.
is great.
No, it was good.
I was prepared.
All right.
Anyway, Gina, thank you so much for this.
Thank
This was
you,
such a
guys.
treat.
It was really fun.
We loved having you on.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for like all those great questions.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, everybody. Cheers to all of you. Hoping for 100 more. And you know, I guess we'll see you next week. We've got a great show lined up.
We do.
All right. Take care, everybody. Love every one of you. Take care.
Cheers.